Good morning. Happy July 2. Welcome to the live stream for the early morning of July 2. We call these the CALMstreams because we play great ambient music and draw and calm ourselves down from our stressful lives. Try to start the day off right. So, what we're working on this morning is comic book layouts. So, I'll show you here. I've got my script. And so my script is mainly is mostly built around the dialogue, because that tells me something about the word balloon placement. In a comic book, the text is such a strong graphical element that draws your eye, that the placement of those word balloons which contain the text is very important, because it's gonna have a lot to do with, it's gonna have a lot to say about where your eye is going to go. So I'm changing the placement here from this edge. Music's a little loud. From this side to this side, because I've got a balloon here, so the dialogue is going to bounce between these two characters going down this way. So we want the eye not to stay cramped on this side of the page. We want it to scan the page over the artwork. And then we're going to have another balloon here, so it's going to guide the eye across the page like this. I think I got a sneeze coming. So here I'm doing research on trying to find the right reference for looking into a forest from a high angle because we want the angle to be a character from a character who can fly. So I'm looking on Pinterest, just winter forest high angle. But worst case scenario, I'll guess at it because it's just for my thumbnails, and then I can always just go out for a hike in nature and bring my sketchbook, make some visual notes, because there are mountains around here and I can climb them and get a high angle on a patch of forest for sure. So for now, we'll just hint at it in our rough here. Just hint at some tree shapes. We'll draw a little doggy. So this page is going to be depicting 3 characters hiking, 2 humans, 1 dog. And for this, we're going to do a 9-panel grid. 9-panel grids are very versatile. We're going to do a lot of aspect-to-aspect transitions. Let's talk just a minute about panel transitions using Scott McCloud's brilliant work, Understanding Comics. So I think it's in chapter 3. So let's take a look. Yes. So after a short discussion about gutters and the concept of closure, which is something that's highly recommended to read about, he discusses the types of panel transitions. So first is one that depicts a moment to moment time span. So as an example, a woman with her eyes open, a woman with her eyes closed. So in between those two panels, the mind does the action of the blink. Here there's somebody sleeping. There's a spider on the blanket. The next moment, the spider has advanced slightly. You can imagine that the spider is going to crawl into this character's mouth. It suggests moment to moment, right? Second type of transition is action to action. So it's a longer span of time, but it's depicting two distinct types of actions. They're very different. So here's the character's just standing, the next is swinging a bat, and he hit the ball. So a distinct thing happens, right? Here's another one, driving a car, crashing it into a tree, right? So it might be moment to moment, but the action here is crawling. Here is like the action is crashing, so it's distinct kind of action. Subject to subject. Here's where here the subject remains the same. The subject is the baseball player. The subject is the woman. Here the subject is these two characters. Here the subject is the cityscape at night. It's a transition from subject to subject. Subject is the character. Subject is the stopwatch. Transition type 4, scene to scene. This is a good example where the panels all depict a different city. Bombay, Paris, New York. It's changing scenes, right? Aspect to aspect, which is the one I'm going to do for this layout here, mostly. It's the whole set of panels is one scene, but depicts different aspects of that scene. Here we have a Christmas scene, but here's depicting a tree with gifts. Here's depicting a Santa Claus in the snow. Here's depicting a scene, an exterior scene. The sun, beautiful sun, a man sunning, and the sky. And then the final type of panel transition in non sequitur, that is panels that seemingly have nothing to do with one another. So here's one of Richard Nixon and an abstract painting. They have nothing to do with one another, but it is a panel to panel transition nonetheless. And what's fascinating about this is that he analyzes various artists and different types of comics and counts the types of transitions, and he depicts them as a bar graph. So American superhero comics like Jack Kirby has a lot of action to action and not a lot of the other types of transitions. And Tintin, similar, right? So he breaks it all down, and then he shows how some other types of panel to panel transition distributions. Yeah. Tezuka does a lot more of aspect to aspect. Number 5, Mouse has a lot of 4, which is scene to scene. Very interesting. So I do want to incorporate some aspect to aspect, which tends to have a bit of a calming effect when you read, depending what is depicted within the panels, of course. And it's immersive because it places you in a scene. It shows you different aspects of the scene, so you are forming a mental picture of what the scene is, and you evoke the senses because you can show snow, you can show trees, you can show a bird fluttering. And you can really start to build this immersive experience using aspect to aspect. So little diversion there, but that's the goal with, there's going to be a few of these types of pages. The goal is immersion. All right, let's continue working here. I'm not going to thumbnail these out yet. I'll just write what I want because I'll have to decide how the rhythm goes. So this one, when I move these thumbnails to a larger format and start to tighten up the pencils, then I'll add these and I'll decide my rhythm here. Here's the next spread. So page numbers. We start with a single page because when you open a comic, the first page stands alone and then the next are spreads until the last page. So we want to design them as spreads, because the spread on its own is a compositional entity. So let's see what the script says for the next 2 pages. Okay. So, by the way, for those of you who are concerned about spoilers, I'm showing the script here, so if you don't want spoilers, then don't watch this. So, but because I'm still a very small publisher, I don't think anyone's really concerned about spoilers because I don't have really that many readers anyway. So this whole thing here It's going to be one of these could be a double page spread, but I want to make sure it's the center one. So, and this is not the center one for sure because it's 16 pages. 16 pages is going to be 6 sheets. Anyway, I'll build a mock-up of the comic eventually, and then we'll plan out our spread. So I'm going to do single pages, but in such a way that this spread looks good. So here, they will be arriving onto a cabin. But it's a small one, semi-remote. Okay, I'm getting the idea. So we're going to be making it a log cabin. This is pretty good, actually. It's just we'll be adding forest around it. I like the angle. We can put some antlers on the front. So that one's too dilapidated. I like this one. Save it as a reference. And we'll be drawing perspective lines when I do this thing here. So I'm changing my layout. I'm putting this look of horror on here. I made a note, look of horror, because what you want at the bottom right, you want something to hook the reader. That'll make them want to read the page. So the dog barks, there's a look of horror. What is the person seeing? Why is there a look of horror? Turn the page. So the bottom right of a page is very important. So we'll just draw some stick figures to show the murdered bodies. This one's going to be slightly off panel. And tree line. So we're putting a tree line here so that the background looks dark to frame our scene here. There's going to be some blood in the snow. That'll help frame the scene. Okay, we got a viewer here with a username that's spelled in Korean, which I can't read, but could at one point. I'm quite fascinated with the Korean writing system, but here the user says Korea, hi, home, good. I'm assuming that maybe the home refers to this house here. Well, welcome aboard. Glad you joined me from Korea. 안녕하세요. So the next page. I'm sorry, friend, I can't read your Korean writing. So our Korean friend asks, are you doing a story continuity? Yes, I am doing a comic book. So like manhwa. You can see some information about this if you go to the link at the top here. Right, if you go over here, comicsodyssey.substack.com, you will see some information about the manhwa I am making. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, manhwa is the Korean equivalent of manga or comic book. So this is the preliminary planning stages of this comic that I am making. So it's just making a plan of how I will tell this story. Okay, that's as much dialogue as I have now. So that's all we're going to work on today. Got a message from perhaps another, what looks like another Korean person. It's cool to see you work hard every day. I cheer you on. Thank you. CALMstream. Okay, well, have a good day, everybody. Thanks for keeping me company. I hope you have a great day. I will be on vacation until July 8th, so there may not be any streams that day, or they may not be regular at the same time. So just I'll keep you updated in the community post, but I need a break. I need to go out in the woods, do some fishing, and get some inspiration from the beautiful landscape here in the valley. So, okay. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.